Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans.
Oh yeah! Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans. Oh yeah! Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans.
Hey friends, welcome back to Truth Lies Shenanigans, the live show for Wednesday, September 19th, 2020. My name is Neo, and I'll be your host today through all the shenanigans. To my right, we have my roll dog for every show, LizE.
Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Y'all ready to hump?
In the opposite corner, we have my fellow Warhawk General, RobB.
What's up, everyone? Happy Wednesday.
Y'all don't know about Warhawk. Y'all don't know about Warhawk.
Gotta know about Warhawk.
And below me, my favorite spades partner, East. Sounds like you're muted, East.
I apologize for that. Sorry about that. Welcome everybody to the show.
All right. For today's show, all hot topics. LizE will be talking about the police being called on a black child bringing a toy gun to virtual school. RobB tells us why Smokey the Bear is pissed. East has questions about Breona Taylor and relationships. And I'll be talking Adele with her Bantu knots and Jamaican flag bikini top. Now remember, we are streaming live everywhere. YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, at TLS Live Show, and you can also watch us at www.truthliveshenanigans.com. And friends, we need your help. Let's get a bunch of people watching tonight. We're asking you to simply invite 2 friends you think might be interested in watching with us. To just take a minute and mention them in the comments. Help us jumpstart these crazy social media algorithms we got going on. And of course, we always love it when you join in the conversation. We'll be checking the comments in all of our live feeds and responding to you. All right, my fellow hosts, September 11th, September 11th officially marks a 6-month stretch since the World Health Organization declared the COVID-19 pandemic. So, does it feel like 6 months to you, or is time going by fast? Is it slow? Does it feel like a year? Does it feel like a couple of months since COVID hit? Start with you, LizE. What do you think?
I think it's a little bit of both. It's weird for me to think that, we shut down basically in March. Like, I have been living in my apartment, basically just going across the street since March. So it's gone by slowly. A lot of things have happened, but it's also gone by very quickly. Like, I can't believe it's September already. And we're still not in a position where we have conquered this thing, where we are comfortable not wearing masks, where we have even experienced the second wave. So I think it's a little bit of both.
RobB, how you feeling?
I have to. I'm on board with Liz. Yes and no. It's luckily with the type of work that I do, kind of keeps me on track. It's very cyclical in nature, so everything has kind of stayed on track like that. But the summer has absolutely flown by. And it seems like the time hasn't gone because there hasn't been a lot that we've been doing per se, because we've been staying safe. We've been doing our social distancing. And that has been the utmost for us, is keeping safe. So it feels like just yesterday ago, and it feels like forever ago.
And you, East, how you feeling?
Yeah, I have to agree. Like, early on, when everything shut down, it felt like everything just kind of grinded to a halt, and time was just going slowly. But now, with minimal distractions like sports and things of that nature, it seems like things are starting to kind of pick up the pace and kind of going quickly. And now, and for especially here in the United States, with the election coming up soon, I mean, it seems like time is really going more quickly,
Yeah.
because it's, like you said, Friday is going to be September 11th is going to be the 6-month anniversary, so to speak, since the World Health Organization made that statement. And November 3rd is just literally right around the corner.
Yep. Yeah. So we got a lot to go. Yeah, I agree with all of you guys. It does feel like, I don't know. For a while there, it felt like it was forever. Like, it was like, oh my God, it was like a year ago. I kept saying 6 months, but that was like 3 months ago. And then now you're right. Things do seem to be moving faster. I know, I got a lot more going on. I'm getting out a bit more, so I'm doing things, and so it kind of has balanced out. So it kind of feels like 6 months to me, actually. When I thought back, I was like, yeah, I guess 6 months actually does kind of make sense. But, all right, guys, if you've never seen our show before, let me tell you a little bit about what Truth, Lies, and Shenanigans is all about. We'll be sharing our truths and opinions with you, calling out the lies, and pointing out those crazy shenanigans going on. But most importantly, on this show, we try to have some fun with shenanigans of our own. And we have one single rule for the hosts, and that is no cussing. No cussing, guys. If you hey, if you're caught cussing,
No cussing.
$10
No
penalty.
cussing.
And if you're caught cussing 3 times in the same show, and the viewers have been known to call you out, we're writing a love letter.
You wrote me beautiful letters.
Your boy,
And they're great
Trump,
letters.
East boy
We fell
Trump.
in love.
Oh man, we're starting to show off like this again.
Your boy's been showing out this week over the past couple of
I
days.
don't know what you're talking
What's up
about.
with What's up with that?
Somebody over there is not too happy with me from Sunday show. I don't know who that is.
I was talking to East, talking about his boy Trump.
Oh, his
has
boy
been
Trump.
showing
Oh, I thought you were talking
Yeah.
about me. Yeah, his
Yeah,
boy
we'll
Trump
get
has
to
definitely been showing it. When doesn't his boy Trump show out? I mean, come on.
I mean, it's a new level. He admitted that he was downplaying the whole COVID virus situation. Um, he took some shots at the Pentagon, at military heads in the Pentagon, in the Justice Department. Like, he's getting a little nervous. He's getting a little shaky there. East,
East.
are you giving advice?
Dude,
Oh, I wish I could. I wish you would listen.
set him straight, man.
My advice
You-
is to step down.
Can you set your voice straight, please?
No, but it just seems like he doesn't care. It just seems like he's playing to the base, and he just is going all out, divisive, uh, racial tones, anything to get the country distracted about what's really
Name
going on.
calling.
Yeah, name
Name calling.
calling. His obsession with Obama it's got to be clinical. Like it's at a clinical level. His obsession with Obama. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Did you guys hear about that the video that he had done? I think it was for the 2016 election where he had
2012.
Was it 2012? It was 2012?
2012 RNC. I saw it.
Yeah, where he had a
Faux Obama.
a fake
No,
Obama
no.
come in so he could fire him, degrade him and fire him.
You got in
Apprentice
Canada,
style.
Rob?
I've never seen that.
Oh, you
Man,
got to see it. It's
that
I
sounds
should've-
wonderful.
I should have had it queued up.
I know
It's
it's
almost
2012 because I'm sorry. I know it's 2012 because Romney put the kibosh on it. He didn't want it.
It's almost like he's a stalker at this point. Like he can't keep Obama's name out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And now that we see that it's gone back to as far as 2012, that's some serious hate. That's some
But it goes-
serious.
That's
I had
that's
it
someone
in
that
for you.
he
It goes back
threatens. He
further.
feels threatened by him. He feels insecure around Obama. So bullies and small-minded people attack these people that they feel intimidated by.
A friend of the
It
show,
goes back
Marjorie
to,
Lorraine's online. She said, "Do you think that you would feel more grounded if the information from the White House, CDC, and NIH was more transparent and reliable?"
Do we think who would feel more grounded?
You think that you would feel more grounded? This is from our friend Marjorie Simpson.
Hi, Marge. I would feel more grounded if I felt that the information coming from our president was more reliable. I think as we're dealing with a virus that is fairly new, there's going to be changes in the information based on how the scientists involved learn about this virus and how it affects us, how it mutates, how we need to respond to it. But the virus or the people talking about the virus, as best as I can see, are not standing before the American people and blatantly lying. And that's what our president is doing. So my focus is on him, and it has to be difficult for those people in those organizations to kind of focus on what they need to do versus managing this tyrant that we have in the White House who keeps tweeting out all of this misinformation and yet calling them liars and saying everything that they say is fake news. Like, it has to be a thankless job, a job that is highly, highly stressful for them.
All right. Let's get on into it. So, time for our hot topics. Again, all hot topics today. So this is how the hot topics works. Each one of our hosts comes with a hot topic in the news they want to discuss. They tell us about the hot topic, ask a question, and we'll start our timer. Then our host will discuss it, and once time is up, we'll see our friend, Genji. He'll let us know the time is up, and we'll move on to the next host and their hot topic and talk about whatever they want. All right, let's get into it.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
And again, make sure you're sharing your thoughts and feelings and questions. I see a bunch of you guys online. It's awesome. So we'll be watching those and joining in the conversation. Today, we are going to start with LizE. LizE, are we talking a truth lie, or shenanigan?
We are talking truth in that it happened, but it's shenanigans and BS that it did happen. So I believe the date was August 27th. It was this young man's third day of the fall school year in 2020 at his school. He's a seventh grader, he's 12 years old, and he was in a virtual classroom. Um, According to his mother and acknowledged by his school, his junior high school, he has ADHD. Okay. So he was in his virtual classroom and he, on the camera, um, was seemingly, well, I don't know, it's still undetermined whether he was playing with it or he was maneuvering it back and forth from one hand to the other, but he had a toy gun that was visible on camera in the virtual classroom. And the teacher that was holding instruction for that classroom notified the vice principal about what happened. And the vice principal, instead of calling the parent, contacted the police. The police came, contacted the parent, was like, we are on our, or the vice principal called the parent, said the police are on the way. Your son, could be in violation of a criminal offense. The police came, interviewed everyone involved. They did not arrest the young man. However, the young man, felt threatened because now the police are in his home. And the school subsequently suspended him for 5 days. So, one, I want to delve into the obvious here because I have another spin on this story, but the obvious here about the administration calling the police on this young man, never once calling the parents first. Their first reaction was to call the police on this young man who was in a virtual classroom with what was thought to be a gun, although the teacher said that she told the vice principal that she thought it was a fake gun. Okay. So, what is your reaction, gents, to this?
Let's start with East.
I think it represents an over policing of African American, Black and Brown boys. Once again, also too, I'm surprised that the levels that allowed this to happen, like it went by the teacher who, as LizE said, acknowledged it was a toy gun. And matter of fact, in the article, they had a picture of the gun. It's lime green. It has Zombie Hunter written on the barrel of the toy gun. I don't know if that could have been seen through the virtual classroom, but it's quite obvious that it's a toy
Boy.
gun.
Yep.
And they understand that this young man has ADHD. Instead of asking the police to get involved, why don't they get the parents involved and say, look, it appears as though your student is not engaged in class. So how can we help him get engaged in class? Instead of calling
Exactly.
the police. Like that's
Exactly.
the angle I would take.
Robbie?
Rob?
Yeah, when I looked into this a little bit, I came to find that both parents were in the military. So, I mean, if anyone would know how to deal with a firearm situation, would be trained military personnel. Um, the first call really should have been to the household, to the parents, because if indeed the child did have a firearm, it would pose a danger to himself and to the household immediately. So the fact that it went through the administration and then the police services is kind of ridiculous because it places everybody in harm's way to begin with. With a small screen, it's very hard to tell if this was a replica gun or if it was a real gun. And my understanding is that that's what he was doing. He was positioning it from one side of the couch to the other. Um, the teacher had initially stated that he was brandishing it at the camera at another student. That's a completely different context to the situation, but that's not what he was doing. He's an ADHD kid that I can relate to who is fidgeting with the most nearby toy. Mom and dad should have maybe provided him with a better option, a fidget spinner, or mom and dad should be policing the types of toys that he has at his disposal during his day, or no distractions while he's at school. So There's a little bit on both sides. And before I'm done, I want to say good night to my granddaughter, Bella, who is tuned in and doesn't understand the Canal Pep. I can't see her. Good night, Bella. Love you.
Good night, Bella. Good night, Bella.
So my thought is, well, obviously, the parents definitely should have been contacted first. I mean, they actually contacted the parents after they contacted the police. So why would it make sense to, if you have the number ready, to say, hey, call the parents, say, hey, what's going on? This is happening. Have them intervene. If they don't intervene, then call the police. Why doesn't that make more sense? And then, you know, I would have actually, I mean, at some point they could have even spoken to the child and said, hey, what is that? What's going on? I mean, and then addressed it with the child directly, because we're not talking about a 6-year-old or 7-year-old. We're talking about a, what is it, a 13-year-old, right? So 12 or
12.
13, 12 or 13-year-old, right? Seventh grade. So why wouldn't you just talk to, I would have talked, well, even if I didn't talk with, don't deal with the kid directly, I would have at least called the parents first. I mean, we have all these Karen situations and these kin situations going on. Why would it make sense? I mean, it's in the news. It just baffled me. But Liz, I know you have
As
a
an
take on it.
as an educator, I agree with everyone's take on it so far. Like I don't understand the jump to calling the police. Especially when, as RobB said, it was determined that he wasn't pointing it at the camera. He was moving it from side to side. It would never be my first inclination to not engage the student and be like, what is that? What are you doing?
Right.
There was nothing about this situation that warranted a call to law enforcement, let alone have law enforcement come to the young man's house and scare him, let alone subsequent to that, suspend him for 5 days. And so, from what the last version of the article that I read said that the parents have taken him out of the school. So they're pursuing putting him in another school. But that was mainly because the administration refused to throw out the suspension. So I don't understand, like, as an instructor, as an educator who is online 4 days out of the week with students on Zoom, that would not have been my default.
Right.
Okay. My addition to this topic is how I don't fault the young man involved at all. My issue is with the adults on both sides, with the administration for pulling the trigger, no pun intended, for pulling the trigger and calling the police officers on this young man for an innocuous offense that could have easily been cleared up if they had called the parents, but also on the parents and on many parents like these parents who are not making the distinction about what is appropriate in the virtual classroom. If you read the articles, if you listen to the comments that the mother had to make after this all happened, she was honing in on how is it that he had a toy gun in the privacy of his own home, and yet that's a threat. And as a teacher, I'm just like, whoa, stop. Virtual classrooms, unless it's just the teacher and the student one-on-one, are not private. You have the teacher who's watching, you have students who are watching, you have possible parents who are walking by who are watching. The parent, whereas the administration knew that this kid had ADHD, me as a parent, I don't know what's going on with this child. To me, it looks like this kid has a gun. And like RobB said, it's not my responsibility to sit there and try to decipher if that's a toy gun, what it reads on the side. I can't see that. You can't see that. So as a parent, you need to have a conversation with the administration about what is appropriate, what is acceptable in your virtual classroom. And then you need to talk to your kid and be like, okay, we're not going to have, we need to come up with another something else for your stresses
Yeah.
that will allow you to be able to sit through this session. that isn't a toy gun, because it can be so problematic and interpreted in many different ways. And Neo just put up a meme about how a lot of parents aren't taking virtual classrooms seriously. Today I was taking virtual attendance and I called a student's name, and his mother came on and said, "He's here, but he's cleaning up the kitchen."
Wait, you didn't say it right.
Oh,
That's right.
Right.
He
Yeah.
here. He
oh,
here.
I'm sorry. He's here, but he's cleaning up the kitchen.
Good catch, Neo.
And so that is, in addition to the obvious, again, the obvious issue is the administration overreacting and essentially putting this young man in harm's way. But also, the parents need to step up and have conversations with the administration and with their children about what virtual classroom means. You don't get to pull your kid out of my class so he could be in the kitchen. You don't get to pull your kid out of my class so he can go and help you with something. This is a classroom, and as best as they can, you need to be encouraging them to treat it as a classroom.
All right.
Comment?
Well, let's continue the conversation with some of the comments online. So Ashley
Somebody's
Jones would like to hear everyone's thoughts on if this were in the school building, an actual school building, and not virtual. Do you think it was an overreaction in that situation?
I think in a school building, the teacher would have spoken to the student.
Yep.
What is that in your hand?
Yeah, I agree
Why
with
do you
that.
I think she would have confiscated it and moved on.
Yep. Or one of the administrators, RobB or East, do you have thoughts on that?
I don't know if it would have happened in the school building, because if I'm not mistaken, in the media there have been situations where the police have been deployed or
He might have got
mobilized
shot.
because of
The
a
things are
toy
going
gun.
down.
Exactly, because of the heightened climate, it would have been perceived as a threat higher than what it actually is, and then the response to that threat becomes lethal. I mean, it's scary.
I've known little kids to make the guns sign with their hand, and they've been suspended for that for 3 to 5 days. Little kids, like 8, 9, 10 years old. So it also depends on the rules of the school. If the schools have strict no images of guns, no anything of that nature, then at least you know at the front end what the rules are. And if you get caught with a toy gun or making a gun gesture with your hand,
Mm-hmm.
then that's on you and your parents.
Yep.
But if the rules aren't clear,
Yeah.
and if this kid has ADHD and it's a way for him to calm down and de-stress and manage the situation, there needs to be a conversation on the front end with the teachers, the administrator, if it's allowed in the school for him to have this uh, device.
Yep.
But anything
Ashley,
absent any communication, if that kid brought that toy to school, more than likely he would be suspended.
yep.
Yeah.
Ashley also says, my son has ADHD and needs to keep something in his hands to stay focused. The teacher could have done more, and the parent should have had other options for the child. So
I
Lai
agree.
says the school has completely overreacted in this situation. Parents are the first to be contacted.
I
Marjorie
agree.
Marjorie Simpson, Dr. Marjorie Simpson said that is horrific. The school and the police failed this young man. Teachers should always involve parents before engaging police, especially when
agree.
it's Zoom learning. He literally did not present a threat to other students. Actual gun in an actual school would be completely different. Mike Winter says they aren't allowed to have toy guns in school buildings, so suspension might have been okay there.
Yeah.
And then Vaughn Perry says, use you DC Bonis. What?
What?
Oh, DC Bonics. He's trying to say DC Bonics.
Oh,
Just misspelled it. DC Bonics. LizE.
no,
All right.
I agree with all the points. And it just sounds like, I know we're ending this segment. It
Yeah,
just sounds like,
behind.
and notice I didn't assign any blame to the student, because I think the adults on both sides failed him here. No one really communicated with him well about what was acceptable and how he should conduct himself.
Yeah, considering his ADHD, it makes sense not to blame the student.
Yeah.
Even though 12, 13 still with ADHD, you still have that. All right, we're gonna move on. Let's move on to our dear friend RobB. Truth, lies,
Sweet.
shenanigans.
This is an awful truth that started with some shenanigans.
All right, what you got?
Well,
Want
we're
the
going to
video
be.
first?
Yeah, I may as well run the video.
They have already come out with a definitive cause for this fire. They say it started during a gender reveal party. The flames sparked by a pyrotechnic device releasing colored smoke. That was Saturday in El Dorado Park. The fire has since spread to more than 7,000 acres. We have some new video from overnight. The damage, we can tell you, is still being assessed. There is currently over 500 firefighters assigned to this fire.
Crazy.
So yeah, so that's old footage. As it stands, 20 hours ago was over 10,000 acres. We're in the San Bernardino County. So yes, this was a gender reveal stint by family. They do have them on camera. They haven't released the footage, but they set off this smoke device with flame. They lit it, and they immediately lost control of it and had water bottles on hand, trying to scramble to put things out, and then got out of Dodge. So my question to the panel really is two-part: is the gender reveal appropriate or even necessary? And at the end of the day, how liable can the culprits be held to account in all of this? Because the damage is significant. And actually, just because part of the California Fire Department, its statement on all their letterhead is those responsible for starting fires due to negligence or illegal activity can be held financially and criminally responsible. Just wanted to throw that one in there.
Financially. Savings and
Mhm.
damage, huh?
Yeah, so Neo, give me some thoughts, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I was just leading into it. Billions of damage. I don't see how anybody can be held financially responsible. But I mean, yeah, I mean, if you make a mistake, should you pay the consequences? Yeah. I mean, lots of people make mistakes, and and there are consequences for mistakes. A gender reveal party. I know, uh, we're kind of not so, we're not supposed to have gender reveal parties because, as we were talking earlier, genders haven't been decided yet. But with that being said, uh, we I don't know, it was silly. I think it was silly for them to be creating fires on a gender reveal party, knowing the situation with, the dryness in California, the fires that were already happening in California, um, the ridiculous damage that is currently being done, and you just exacerbating it. I mean, it's ridiculous, really.
East.
I have to agree. Neo had exhibited the points I was thinking about, which was there was already a situation where it was ripe for a forest fire, and in their infinite wisdom, they decided to light pyrotechnics in a hot, dry area. Who couldn't have seen this coming? It was totally unnecessary, and it's it's to the point of a lack of self awareness. Of it shows the inability to think about the other man, other people. Let me just be totally.
Mhm.
It was a gender
I don't
reveal
want
party, so be
right,
careful on
right.
gender usage, buddy.
It's like, okay, do I have to light these pyrotechnics in this uh, cauldron of fuel, or can I just simply say on Facebook or some other social media platform, because of the current situation in California, the planned gender reveal will not happen. However, we're going to do it like this, plain and simple.
Mhm.
Or, as stated earlier, does it need to happen? I think it's pointless, personally, but I know the younger generation, this is what they like to do. They like to have a large gathering. It's a party. I understand it's not for me, but I just think it's a waste of time.
Just real quick, I want
And
to
to
do some
answer your
comments
question,
online. Okay,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, that,
No, I was
I
just
was,
gonna say that
yeah.
if they're if they know who it is, they should be held as liable as possible.
So
Darn.
Jose, hold on. Jose made me laugh. I feel like a cake would have been less dramatic. And then I got another funny one from More Day. Find the parent and the baby once it's born, and find the
And the
grandbabies
baby.
also, just for
And the
sharing.
baby.
He wants everybody. All right, Lizzie.
Um, One, I let's get into the question about is it appropriate? It's no less appropriate than having a birthday party every year. Like we can't get into the custom of telling people what they should be celebrating and what they shouldn't be celebrating. I understand we had a conversation earlier about whether it's a gender reveal versus a sex reveal. Okay, that's semantics. But the bottom line is these people, in theory, without the pyrotechnics, we have a right to celebrate however we want to celebrate this birth, right? However, someone just brought up the point. I think it was more. What happened to just having a pink or blue cake? Like, how did we get to where we're just going, through the roof with all of these extravagant and extra things to celebrate this? Rob, when I first heard about this, and then when you said you wanted to comment on this, I reread the story. I thought it was the story from 2017 in Arizona, where the exact same thing happened, where it was a gender reveal party. They lit up a bunch of pyrotechnics, and that baby was a boy, by the way. And then it started this wildfire that cost the state of Arizona $8.2 million. And in the couple involved in that, the was in addition to the obvious because of that, but they were brought up on charges, agreed to pay fines that led up to, including the $8.2 million. So they owe all of that in restitution. In another story, there was a gender reveal party, including pyrotechnics, that it blew up and all of this shrapnel went everywhere.
I remember that.
Nails went into the grandma's neck, killing the grandma. Like, why do we have to be so extra about telling people what the gender or the sex of your baby? Like, again, it started off with just a cake, a blue
Mhm.
cake, white cake, pink balloons, blue balloons, a little powder here and there. Now we're shooting off pyrotechnics and causing millions of dollars of damage.
Over
It's
celebrating.
unnecessary. And if you look at California, it's sad. It's really sad. So if you look at Rob's picture here, in the background, the walls are kind of like a burnt sienna orange. That's what the sky looks like in
Yeah.
California right now
Mhm.
as a result of all of this. It's disgusting and it's sad.
All right, RobB, you got a minute.
Excellent, excellent. So no, some very valid points. I'm definitely on board with everyone, and that's it. It's a sex reveal. It's not a gender reveal, and the fact that it's being over celebrated, it's being overdone, is because the industry has recognized the niche and is
Mhm.
exploiting it.
Yep.
So congratulations, you cashed in on your baby shower. You're cashing in on your gender reveal. You're going to cash in on the birth. Not every occasion is a gift-giving celebration over the top event. I remember when my kids were born, here's a cigar with a blue wrapper. Here's a cigar with a pink wrapper. That's how my boys got to find
Cool.
All right.
All right, so yeah, a bunch of comments online. It says Jacqueline Robinson, when fame whoring goes horribly wrong.
out.
I'll let the Gingy come in. Robin Johnson says it is terrible. The sky is crazy because of someone's stupidity. Ron Perry, even the person that popularized gender reveal parties, has openly said enough. Kevin Thaxton, Lompoc, California was under smoke and ash for 2 days. No person caused the fire, but California is dry from July to October. And that speaks to, I mean, they talk about it all. We don't hear about it, but they advertise and they talk about it all the time about how dry it is in California. They're always talking about fires, preventing fires. So there's no reason that this should have happened. I mean, there's enough information. Uh, Marjorie Simpson, we aren't supposed to have parties um, that set the entire West Coast on fire. We aren't supposed to have parties that spread COVID. We are supposed to care about each other. Love that
Agreed.
one.
Agreed.
Erica Bertrand, because social media makes people into weird competitors. Kevin, it's just like asking folks to the prom. You have to compete with the internet.
Mm.
A promposal. Call it what it
Yeah.
is, Kevin. A promposal.
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 Ashley says it's people trying to keep up with the Kardashians. Bigger, more extravagant, even more unnecessary. Confetti and balloons would have been just fine. Aima, good to see you. Donate the money for a better cause. Balloons seem sufficient. All
Yeah,
right.
because at the end of the day, the parents had this wonderful reveal party, and the big gift that the kid gets out of this is crippling debt for the rest of their life after the financial charges are going to be levied.
And Ernest
Or
Cooper
Rob,
says, oh, good.
I was just going to say, or Rob, think about the other case. The kid comes into the world knowing that their gender reveal, sex reveal, caused grandma's death. Grandma died.
Yep.
Grandma died.
And Ernest Cooper
Yeah.
says, so was it a boy or girl? Anyone know?
I don't know, actually. I don't
The
know.
kid hasn't decided yet. We don't know.
All right. All right, let's move on. So, I guess we're up to me now. This should be a fun one after last Sunday. But Truth Lie Shenanigans, this is definitely, I'm calling it shenanigans. So, British singer Adele, known for hits like Rolling the Deep and Hello, posted this image of her wearing Jamaican flag bikini top and the hairstyle, which is called Bantu knot, which is a style said to have originated from South Africa, but also worn by people in Jamaica. After she posted this, Black Twitter blew up and jumped down her throat, claiming that she was culturally appropriating Black and Jamaican culture. Although, it should be noted, a large number of Jamaicans came to her defense, claiming that she was instead appreciating the culture. So, simple question. What is the difference between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation to you? And also, does it matter? Starting with LizE on this.
I think it does matter. I think that the two subjects kind of intertwine and cross paths. I think they blur the lines, if you will. As it relates to Adele in that particular situation, the entire story should be told. Adele was at in London at a carnival situation in London, which is a celebration of Afro-Caribbean heritage. Everybody at Carnival dresses up, whether it be in a very flamboyant outfit, whether it be Bantu knots, whether it be a bikini that celebrates a particular country or what have you. This is not out of the ordinary for how people dress for this occasion. When I lived in Finland, I went to a Finnish independence celebration. I had on traditional Finnish dress. I wasn't saying that I was Finnish, that this was my heritage. I was celebrating the heritage of the country that I lived in. That's what Adele was doing there. She has never claimed to be Jamaican. She has never claimed to be the founder of Bantu knots. And so I think when we start to talk about cultural appropriation, we get into, because we are so sensitive about things that, as Black people, about things and parts of our culture that have been stolen for us, we get really petty. Like, I don't care if a Black woman wears cornrows, as long as it's not the Bo Derek effect, where we say Bo Derek started the whole cornrow phenomenon. I don't care if an artist decides to, a white artist or a non-Black artist decides they're going to make an R&B song. I don't care if a non-Black person is dancing to go-go music. Go-go is a DC thing, by the way. I don't care if a non-Black person wears bamboo earrings or hood knot. Like that's stupid.
Mhm.
Like I have worn I have two kimonos
I was
in
gonna
my
say,
closet.
yeah.
I
Because
wore one.
I would say that black people are, I mean, appropriate Asian culture often.
Exactly. So it just depends on the situation and the intent, and the fact that Adele never got on TV and said that she was the founder of Bantu knots, that she was from Jamaica, that she was speaking in a Jamaican accent. She never did any of that.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what the backlash was about, especially since she was at a celebration where it is expected that everyone who comes dresses this way.
He's,
Bet you didn't expect me to say that, Neo, huh?
I was gonna say, I was actually gonna say that. I totally was not expecting that. I was expecting that we would have a back and forth, but go ahead, Eve.
No, I think that in terms of cultural appreciation, I think we can't be more offended than the group of people that's being represented. If that makes sense. So, if in this case, if the Jamaicans or Afro Caribbean nations are saying that's cool, I'm cool. You know, like if LizE is wearing a kimono and all the uh, Japanese uh, Americans in DC are saying, no, that's disrespectful, I have to listen because it's their
As
culture.
do I.
Right.
Yes.
So I think that's, to me, that's the barometer. The people that's being represented, if they're disrespected, if they're saying they're disrespected, that's my guide. If they say it's okay, I'm okay.
Mhm.
Robbie?
All about context. All about context in the fashion and how it's done. If it's done in a respectful fashion, in a way to celebrate or appreciate the culture, I think it's wonderful. I like eating with chopsticks. It's it's
Perfect
it's just something,
example.
right?
Perfect
It's
example.
no one's going to tell me that I've appropriated Asian culture because I choose to eat with, you know, stick utensils. I think it's just kind of fun and nerdy. I enjoy I enjoy a variety of products and influences from around the world. And the world has become such a small place now with the internet that if your culture, if something cultural is influencing others, it should be appreciated. It's a sign of respect. I think of, as a musician, I think of bluegrass music coming from the deep south and then it being transformed into rock over time. That's not cultural appropriation. That's an evolution of something, and it was inspired by an idea. So,
Yep.
as long as it's done in a respectful fashion, if it's not denigrating, if it's not disrespectful, then it's all about the context.
Okay. Again, I was surprised by LizZe's response. But I should note cultural appropriation is defined by Wikipedia as this. At times, also phrased cultural misappropriation. It's the adoption of an element or elements of one culture or identity by members of another culture or identity. This can be controversial when members of a dominant culture appropriate from disadvantaged minority culture. So that's where typically the um, controversy comes from. Okay, my comments are uh, if you show love and appreciation for parts of a culture, such as like, clothing, hairstyles, but you remain prejudiced, that's appropriation. I get it. Nobody really appreciates it when someone takes your culture and belittles it. Like if you look at this image here, they're wearing the chief hats. They have no sense of what that culture is. There's no value to that. They're just wearing it just because, right?
Costume.
That
They're
that's different.
right.
Picture is different.
Different than what?
Different than what we're talking about in
Appropriation?
appropriation, yes. Because a lot of times when you get into Native Americans and their dress, you're talking about historical dress, you're talking about historical warriors and artifacts that we're just saying,
Mhm.
boo,
Right.
Just put this on.
And
So
yeah,
that's a little
that's
But
sort of
being
that's what the
Canadian,
definition, the literal definition of appropriation is, and that's why I'm saying, I get all of that, but I think like Lizzie was saying, which is surprising to me, is we're getting overly sensitive to the point, we could be alienating people who actually do appreciate other cultures, like Lizzie was saying, I went to Thailand, I was wearing Thailand garb, and shoot, I was wearing, if I had hair, I probably would have been wearing a hairstyle. you know, and I might look silly, but I wasn't appropriating. I was experiencing the culture, just like Adele. She's experiencing the culture, and we can't. It doesn't make sense to stop people from experiencing other people's culture because you learn from it, you gain from that. And
yes.
I know we got Gingy coming in here, but my last comment is I'm absolutely certain, absolutely positive that the Jamaican tourism board to give a damn about Black Twitter right now. Because I know they were probably reposting that thing. And, I'm just saying, all I'm saying is at some point we got to kind of let some of this go. I mean, right now, we have bigger things, fish to fry. Because right now, I just want to stay alive. I don't want to get choked out. I don't want to get shot in the back. Let's focus on the important stuff we got to work on. We got some big issues we got to deal with. And Adele wearing you know, Bantu knots and
I just add on to your point very quickly.
yeah.
A lot of times with this, it's also the media that's generating this hype, the media that's assigning this appropriation, if you will, to the artist, to the celebrity, and where the celebrity is just like, I didn't mean that. That was not my intent at all. But the media told Bo Derek that she was the originator of the cornrow hairstyle. It was the media a few years ago that said that because Kim Kardashian's daughter, North, had on some Timberlands, that she was making Timberlands popular in hip hop culture. And that's when I had to throw my hand. That's appropriation, but on behalf of the media, not the artist. Because
Right.
as we all know, Tims have been popular in the hood, in hip hop, even on fashion runways for decades.
Yeah.
For decades.
So comments online real quick because we're running short on time. So Marjorie says intent is the key word. More Dave says Adele's about to drop Oxtail Hold the Gravy album. Mike Winter says Liz, you ain't reading my mind. Kevin says, yeah, there's so many Americans that wear what is this? Dirndls and Lederhosen at Oktoberfest. Yep, half of them are non-white. Ashley says nothing's wrong with this. At least she wasn't pulling the move out of what's her name from NAACP that posed as a black woman.
Rachel, Miss
Yeah,
Rachel, girl,
that's
you still
Lizzie's.
claiming
Lizzie's
still
Lizzie's
black?
girl.
You still black, Rachel?
Marjorie says, "Get out 45," and Ade says, "I might have been wrong about Adele on this. Celebrating a particular culture should be welcome." Awesome, Ade. All right,
All
all
right.
right. Let's move on to the next one. East.
Come on,
So,
brother.
Quick, buddy. Sorry to leave you no time.
Oh, that's okay. I wanted to talk about. I want to use the Breonna Taylor incident to kind of drive home a different point. And first, let me say, by no means am I what I'm about to discuss excuses what happened to her. Uh, she in no way deserved or caused the actions that resulted in her ultimate demise. My point is, I was reading the New York Times article about Breonna Taylor's life and how she was changing and the circumstances that kind of surrounded the warrant being served and led to her ultimate demise. The article indicates that she was involved with a known drug dealer in the Louisville area. He appeared to be had his hands in a lot of drug dealing in the area, and he used her address on bank accounts. Her address was used on a bail form for one of his arrests when she posted bail. So my ultimate question is, what's a deal breaker in terms of establishing relationships, either intimate or platonic? Uh, how do we establish standards so that we can kind of progress in society? Because just a quick story, I'm a juvenile probation officer. I come across parents who should never have had kids, quite honest with you. And they don't strike me as the people that had that established standards for themselves in order to procreate. And this causes a lot of societal issues, and it kind of crap starts rolling downhill. So my question to the panel is, what are some deal breakers? Like what should be kind of acceptable standards uh, in relationships? Uh, Start off with RobB.
For me, honesty is key in any relationship. If you don't have honest communication between two partners, then you can't grow the intimacy, you can't grow the trust. It will always be a subversion of love. I love you, baby. Yeah, but you treat me horribly. Yeah, but I love you. It's to me, it really is. Honesty is the root of any healthy relationship. Even with my friends, if I open up to you, if you open up to me, we have an intimacy that we share. We form a stronger bond as in those relationships. And it's if I lie to you, I'm disrespecting you, and I'm not showing you that love, that friendship. It's that's the key for me.
LizE?
I think hopefully I can make it through this without coughing. Um, I agree with everything that RobB said. As a woman, as a Black woman in particular, I think my deal breakers extend beyond that. It goes into definitely honesty, integrity, and you know your ability to prioritize education. But if we're getting at like a basic deal breaker level, um, I want to see how you navigate through family. How many children do you have? And how many mothers of your children do you have? How are these children being raised? Are you involved in these children's lives? That's first and foremost. I'm not dating a guy that has 4 kids and 4 mothers. A certain level of recklessness that could have been stopped after baby number 1, 2, or 3. But also, you're setting up a situation where my life, particularly with you, will be compromised. Like if I'm getting with you are 4 kids and 4 different baby mamas, that is making our situation that much more difficult. But even beyond that, what are you doing as a profession? If you're involved in any type of illegal activity, and I think the illegal activity thing, and even the thing about, talking about family, unfortunately, I think that comes with, that's not an automatic with a lot of people. That comes with a lot of maturity.
Mm-hmm.
I remember back in the day, high school, early college, in certain segments of the population, the bad boy was the guy you wanted, depending on the degree of bad that they were exhibiting. In DC, when I was in junior high school, having a boyfriend that was a drug dealer was not a bad thing. I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't the worst thing that you could do. Um, but I'm in my 40s. I'm mature. I am a grown woman. I'm
So
an
no more drug
adult.
dealers for you? You done with the drug
No,
dealers?
no drug dealers for me. No guys with multiple children by different mothers. Like
Yeah,
none of that, because that affects how I live my life and the structure of what we want to have as a family unit.
yeah. I mean, I had I don't want to share all of my deal breakers because some of them are private, but I have deal breakers. I mean, the whole point is I think we all should have. We should walk into relationships knowing um, what we don't want, right? You know,
Mhm.
we don't necessarily always know what we want, but you should have some sense of what you don't want. You know, you don't want cheaters. You don't want people that are going to get into trouble. You know, you don't want, troublemakers. You don't want somebody who's going to, have domestic violence against you. You know, there are certain things you have to walk into, and we should be teaching our children this, which doesn't happen, but we should be looking at like, hey, this, you should have, everyone should have some set of standards as to what they're looking for. And it still may not be what you want or what you need, but you should start somewhere, you know? Um, each you got about a couple of minutes. You want to share your
Can I
thoughts?
just point out Von Perry's point? Von Perry said, by my level of standards, that would exclude me from being able to date Donald Trump, who has kids by 3 different women.
And we know
But,
how much you want to date Donald Trump. Go ahead, East.
But Neil, you said it. Like, you have to know who you are and what you're willing to accept and what you're willing to compromise with.
Mhm.
And if you don't know what you want, then it's hard to impart that on your partner or intimate partner or platonic partner or whatever. And to your other point too, the older generation is not teaching the younger generation those parameters because that has been melded or kind of the boundaries have been blurred due to and maybe in part to teenage pregnancy, um, the blurring of the lines, the blurring of boundaries. Parents don't want to be parents; they want to be friends to these kids, so they're not giving them the real talk about what to look for in a mate,
Right.
in a friend. It's difficult, and then we create a generation that doesn't know who they are, what they want, and society kind of comes off as axis a little bit.
Did you have any more comments, or you?
I just think that this, for what Sharon or East's last comment, I think this could be another topic for a different show
We should.
in terms
Mhm.
of how we talk to our children about relationships and how to decide on a mate and the things that they should consider and the things that should be deal breakers. And like Neo said, what you won't accept. Because I don't think a lot of people are having these conversations with their children.
Mike Winter says he just sells a little weed. That's all. And Chapman Robin said our dad used to advise pay close attention to how he treats his mama. That's what you look for. All right, that's it for our hot topics. Great topics, guys. Good job. Lots of fun. Lots of good discussion points.
Lies, shenanigans.
All right, let's jump right into the Shenanigans game show. All right. Oh, you don't know who it is? Good.
That's Cristiano Ronaldo. Come
you
on,
do
I'm
know.
a soccer guy.
Okay,
no,
good. You
come
do
on.
know. All right. So
Come on
today's game is Famous People Quiz Sports Edition. Since we've got our sports crew on the show tonight, very simple. I'll show all of you a picture of a famous person who responds the fastest with the right answer gets the point. All right. I hope your Wi-Fi is working good. So,
Z, are you about to watch him cheat again, Z?
hold on. I'm gonna put in my other. Here we go. I'm gonna put in the other one so I'll make sure I can hear you good.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
There we go.
all right. And play along if you're online. So, okay, the person with the most points, don't forget, you get the final thought for the day. So, are we ready? East, you got the score?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Jackson says, Liz, you can't fight.
Whoop your behind.
All right, let's go.
Look at it.
Roger
Better.
Federer.
Okay, I'm going to give you both a point 'Cause he was saying Roger. He was saying Roger while you were saying Federer. So you can both get a point.
Already cheating. He's already cheating.
East and Liz.
I heard them both.
Yeah. All right. Next. Ooh,
Michael Schumacher.
Whoa.
Michael Schumacher.
Okay. Because I had no idea who this was. That's correct answer.
Former F1 champion in auto racing.
Lizzie got 2 points, by the way.
Don't play.
Lizzie's got 2. All right. Ready? East, you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, that shows a bias. That shows a bias already.
Conor McGregor.
East got that one. You didn't say. He said the whole word before you even got the.
You had a bias already. Good. East, you good.
So score is 2-2 East.
Horrible.
Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Yeah. Sorry, Liz.
Look at it. Even East. Not. Who checks on
RobB,
me?
get in here anytime you can. Anytime you want to get one.
I got it from the sample picture.
All right. So you ready now, East? All right.
Yeah. Okay.
I would ask if Lizzie is ready, but she should be.
See? Cheater.
All right. Who's got this one?
Ibrahimovic.
Oh, he's got it. He's got it. He's got it.
Give you that. I have no idea who that was.
East is on a roll. Look at that. All right, 3-2.
Oh my God, who does he look like?
Are you ready? Are you ready, Lizzie? Are you ready, Lizzie?
I ain't talking to you.
Michael Jordan.
Okay, all of you got the point.
Oh, you were such a cheater.
No, you all said it at the same time.
No, you did not. There was a laugh between when I said it and when they said it. Oh my
I'm
God.
positive you all said it at the same time.
I think Liz has some lag because I was clearly out of my mouth before anything came from everyone else.
Are you watching Z right now?
We gotta get your better. We gotta get your Wi-Fi. You've had problems with your Wi-Fi earlier. It must be your Wi-Fi.
Blaming Wi-Fi.
Sharapova.
Oh no, Lizzie definitely got that one ahead of you. Definitely. 4-4. All right, next point between you guys wins the game. All right, here we go.
Messi.
All right. Oh, she got you. Good job, Lizzie. Good job. Oh, he gave you a run. He gave the sports journalist a run for her money.
He gave me a run with an assist by the main host. Like I said, I would have been as a sports
Saima said it was a tie. She said the last one was a tie. See,
I don't know.
Mike Winter said it was a tie. I told you. Yep. Adele said it was a tie. Not the last one, the one before.
Traitor, Mike.
He's cuss? Ernest Cooper called you out. Did you cuss, East?
I said, damn.
Oh, that's not a cuss. I'm sorry, Ernest. That's one of the words we're allowed to say.
No, but I did tell the gents, ladies and gentlemen, that, as a seasoned sports journalist, if I lost this, I would be highly offended.
You almost did.
I'm glad, even with the efforts to cheat and to lose, I failed.
All right, let's get in some shout outs before we close out. What we got? LizE, shout outs.
Shout out to all of our new viewers, first time TLS live show viewers. Welcome. Thanks for joining us this evening. Come back to see us on Sunday.
RobB.
Shout out to everyone that joined us this evening. Shout out to my Canadian contingents. Love that you guys are tuning in. I love that you're becoming fans of the show. Tuning in Wednesdays and Sundays. Lots of great stuff. And shout out to my wife, who's going for some dental surgery tomorrow.
All right, East.
I would like to thank all the viewers tonight. Thank you for showing up. And also, thank you to everybody who's in North Carolina early voting. I want to let everybody be cognizant of the voting parameters, early voting. Get your ballots in now. Request your ballots, depending on where you live in the United States. Follow the protocol so we can vote, vote, vote. And do not listen to the president in North Carolina. You cannot vote twice. Vote once.
Well, his people are going to try it. I guarantee that. The funny thing is, I bet his people try it more before the Democrats do.
Right.
And I'm not saying Republicans. I'm saying his people.
His people.
Yeah.
His people.
It's a little different.
Right.
All right, but my shout out goes to my beautiful wife, Mel. I know she's probably just coming back from the studio, doing some classes tonight. So hope you had fun, and welcome to everyone who showed up tonight. Saima, Dave, we got Adele, Mike, Dawn Perry, Jacqueline Robinson, Ernest Cooper, big contingent. Marjorie, good to see you again. We have to get you back on the show soon.
Good to see you.
Ashley, thanks for showing out. All right. Yeah, vote, vote, vote. Adele, last comment. Vote, vote, vote. Great job, guys. All right. So it's time to close things out. Let me get that music off. All right. And that's all the time we have for the show. I'd like to thank you guys for joining us. We hope maybe you learned something, gained a new perspective, and even got some things off your chest if you needed to. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe at TLS Live Show. And again, LizE is looking for you guys to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We'll have some different things going on there. So also make sure you join us Sunday, 4 p.m. Another great show with Jam, LizE, myself, and Z will be back. All right? So, LizE, you won the game today. You get the last word.
So, we didn't really talk about POTUS, the President of the United States tonight, but I don't want that to distract you. Pay attention to all the lies and the shenanigans that have been going on this week. From him talking ill of our POWs, of our military officers, now finally admitting that he was downplaying the whole coronavirus epidemic and how it could affect you. Again, get out in November and vote out this cancer.
Yes, please. Yeah, we only have just over 60 days, right?
Under 60 days. I think
It's under
55 or
60 days. That's right. It's under 60
Yeah.
days now. Yep. All right, guys, get out there and vote. All right, we'll see you Sunday. All right.
Shenanigans.